Rise and shine, beloved. Great grand rising, great grand rising. Come on in, come on in. Let me get us up on Facebook and we're going to be ready to go. Come on in. Take this moment, go tag a friend, family member, let them know Spiritual Success TV is live. We are here and we are so happy to be here on YouTube, Facebook, on both channels on Facebook. We are happy to be here. With that being said, beloved, let's do what we do in this community. And wait, let me find this. Let's do what we do in this community and let's activate the success mind. And we're going to do that by taking a good, healing, deep breath in. We're going to sit with our feet flat, back straight, hand on heart, if you will, and take a good, healing, deep breath in and exhale and relax. From the crown of the head down to the sole of the feet, just relax. Relax. We're in a safe and sacred environment. Come on in. Turn that focus inward to the rich inner life of the kingdom of God that is within, and breathe. And exhale. Let's relax deeper. Allowing the Holy Spirit's presence to be activated, to come to the ascendancy. We are here. One more breath for the power of 3. Deep breath in and exhale. We're so thankful. We're so grateful for another day, for another opportunity. We're just happy, happy, happy to be here. All right, lovelies, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let me see why we're not here yet. Let me come on back in and see if I'm up. Okay, there it is. All right, come on, give me a great grand rising. Let me know that you are here. Something's just bothering me right here. Let me know that you are here and we are ready to go. All right. Just what it is. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, lovely. So let me just take a moment to do a brief recap for where we've been over the last month. Can you believe we're already 2 months into this brand new year? Yes, we are. All right, so in the month of January, we came in strong. We came in being uplifted and empowered. We did 7 days of a prophetic release to just kind of bring some framework to where we are and what's happening. And then we talked about creating timelines. We talked about settling in, how to start affirming your declaration and your intentions and just affirming yourself. We talked about settling in to this year. But today I kind of have a little bit more of an admonition, a caution, a recommendation, if you will. So today, I just want to call us into accountability, divine alignment and agreement. Somebody talk back to me and say accountability. Yes, we need to be held accountable. Come on and talk back to me. Put something in the comments. Let me know you're here. Let me know you can hear me and everything is okay, right? Calling us into accountability because we have to be accountable for what we say. And what I want to talk about today, beloved, is coming into full participation in your real life. I want you to show up. So when we talked about making that commitment last week, the commitment to the sacred work, this is like a part 2 of being committed to the sacred work because you're being committed to show up in your real life. Write that down. Talk back to me in the comments. Show up in your real life. And so what are we talking about here? It's all about, beloved, now, not settling for less, not settling for the life that is less than what you know you're here to live. Who am I talking to today? I'm talking to you. If you are still on a job simply because it's a job and it's paying the bills, but you're miserable, half the time you don't want to show up, you don't want to go. And thank God, maybe some of you are at least in an area where some part or some portion of your gift or your giftings are being utilized. But if you are still in 2024 showing up on a job simply because it's a job and it's paying the bills, then you are not yet fully participating in your real life. Somebody talk back to me and say, my real life. That's the life that you know that you are here to live. If you are still in that relationship that is not fulfilling, that is borderline toxic, maybe all the way toxic, abusive, not serving you well, not serving you at all, and you're there because you just don't want to be alone or be with yourself, it's time to stop settling and show up in your real life. Dr. E, what is the real life? What am I settling for? Again, it goes back to what we talked about last week. Commitment to do the work. I want to give you a good shaking today. I want to give you a good shaking and a stirring because we're too comfortable. And I'm saying I'm putting myself in there as well because it's time to go to the next level. It's time to transmute some things in our life. So again, talk back to me. Somebody's type, show up, show up, show up. It's time to show up in your real life and be committed to doing the sacred work. What is the sacred work? It's those things that's going to really move the needle in your life. It's time to come out of just the head space, and I'm talking about the ego realm and the head space, and just talking about what you want to do, what you desire to do, how frustrated you are, but you're not doing anything to make changes. You have to do this work. I used to tell my clients early on, beloved, no one's coming to rescue you. The moment that you resign that and you stop looking outside, blaming other people, waiting for somebody to come and give you a hand, lift you up, make it easy for you, make it better for you. But this is how it works, beloved. The moment that you decide, I'm going to rescue me. If it's going to change, it's going to change because I'm making the changes. That is when you start attracting and pulling in others to aid you and assist you. But as long as you are on a low vibrational frequency of victimhood repels. Yeah, I hear somebody say, yes, it attracts too. It attracts more things for you to be victimized about because you believe in victimization. You believe that somebody's taking advantage of you. You believe somebody's hurting you. Somebody's being not genuine where you're concerned. Do all these things happen, beloved? Yes, they do. But we don't want to give our energy and our attention over to that. So commitment to the sacred work. And there's several things that I want to really just see in your heart today. Show up. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to you because we're all doing this thing called life in 3D together. We're all awakening and ascending together. We talked about this coming out of 2023, but repetition is the mother of all learning. So number one today, I want you to honor yourself. Honor yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. Honor yourself. What does that mean, Dr. E? How do I start honoring myself? How do I know when I'm not honoring myself? Because you can tell by what's showing up in your life. I've said it over and over again. The outward expression, what shows up in your realm of appearance, is a reflection of your inward condition. So the outward state or condition is a reflection of your inner state or condition. Write that down. That's how you can tell if you're miserable, you're frustrated, you're not satisfied. All of that is saying, beloved, that you're not showing up. You know, there's a popular terminology going around in the success or conscious community, or the community that's awake, so to speak. And they talk about NPCs, or non-playing characters. And these are supposed to be entities that are quote unquote soulless, and they're not really here. They just have an avatar, they have a body, they're stuck and locked in a matriarchal system. They're going through the motions, but they don't have no real agenda. They have no real decisions. They have no real desires. They're just here. Beloved, you don't want to be an NPC in this day. You don't want to be a non-playing character in your own life. You want to show up, and it's time to show up fully. It's time to show up completely, right? Grand Rising, Reese. Grand Rising, Andrea. Thanks for being here. Listen, I want you to put your hand on your heart and make a commitment to yourself. No more going along to get along. I'm going to show up in my life. I'm going to show up fully. Now, let me give you a caveat. Showing up in your life is not necessarily noisy. It's not necessarily you getting on a bullhorn and just blasting out to everyone. It's not that. The way that you show up and you start honoring yourself, you make a commitment to do the sacred work. You start healing from within. That is how you start honoring yourself. You start becoming very consciously aware how you're thinking, how you're feeling, what your actions are, what your non-actions are. You start honoring yourself. You honor yourself by looking at what the shadow self, what you have allowed the shadow self to plunge you into. I was doing some reminiscing, right? I was doing some reminiscing this past week, just taking a look over my life and looking to see when did some habits and patterns kick in my life, right? When did the shadow self step in and begin to have more of a role, have more of a play in my life? And I looked at what happened before that time period, before I created that timeline, what I was doing and how I was showing up versus what happened after I allowed the shadow self to create another timeline for me. So I remember after I had my second child, I had a mild case of postpartum depression. And I say it was mild because it wasn't where I was like disconnected from the child, it was not that. But I noticed that something just wasn't right in my mental and emotional realm. And it was right at that time I took a year off from work, because I always took a year or two off to do the nurturing of the child for the first 1 to 2 years, right? And so I remember at that time that is when something shifted for me, and I started stuffing down or escaping something in reality, right? I believe it was the postpartum depression that triggered this. And my response, that was the first time I noticed that I started setting up myself. And I'm the kind of person, I would always take care of business first. So I would take care of everything I needed to do. My thing is I'm an early riser. Now this part stayed true. It stayed in place. I want you to hear me, because I share these things about myself, not just for you to be a voyeur, to just say, oh my God, look at what she did. No, hopefully you will see a part of yourself in it as well. So I was always an early riser. I am a morning person. The earlier I could get moving with the day, the better. But my thing, ever since I was a teenager, 18, 19, 20 years old, in my own place, right, with my then husband, I always would get up, and on Saturdays, I would do everything. I would clean the house from top to bottom, in to out. I would get Sunday's dinner cooked, and all of that. By 12 noon, I was done. And then I would go around Linwood Street. For those of y'all that know Linwood Street, give me a thumbs up. right? And I would hang out with my mother, my family, all the friends, right, for the rest of the day. So that still holds true. Even till today, that's part of my habit. Take care of business first, then you can relax. So I would notice from like 12:30 to 4 p.m., I started going to I would have my Chinese food. Y'all New Yorkers shut out for me that when we used to go to Ching Charlie's and get the chicken wing and French fries, the half a chicken with fried rice. I'm talking to my Brooklyn folks now, my New York folks, right? I would get that, and that's when I started. This is when my diet shifted, right? I would get a bag of Chips Ahoy cookies and Pepsi. And I would eat that and I would watch my programs. And then at 4 p.m., I was done. And then it was time for the evening shift, time for the husband to get home from work and all of that. I started looking at that to see when certain things kicked in and noticing how I worked with it over the years, but how that shadow kind of stayed in place in some form or another. Beloved, that was the way I learned to soothe myself, right? And I've talked to you about soothing versus nurturing, and there's a difference. I'm saying all of that to say this is that when we allow the shadow self to create an avatar, to create a timeline, we get stuck in that paradigm, in that belief system, in that rule setting, right? And it doesn't mean that it's a demon. It doesn't mean that you're cursed, because we have to get off of church brain. We got to get off of all that stuff that we picked up during our time in church. And this is not to bash church or anything. Everything did what it was supposed to do, but now we want to wake up. We want to wake up from all of that, right? And so we want to wake up from always blaming a demon, a devil, a witch, a warlock, a devil, blaming something outside, to look at what we ourselves allowed. I created that timeline. I created that avatar. I created that version of myself that was soothing myself, where the postpartum depression kicked in, right? And I thank God it was only a mild case, but something was not settling during that time. So you have to begin to examine yourself and begin to inquire some of the habits, patterns, and cycles that you have in your life. When did you create that? When did you start soothing yourself that way? As a child, I can remember back, and so I was just doing, you just sit down. I was doing some reflection, some introspection, just trying to look and see at what genre, at what point in my life did I allow my shadow self to soothe me, to protect me. Even as a child, I love eating. I love eating. I love the way I feel when I eat. So even as a child, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, I could see myself, when we were living in Manhattan at the time, I could see myself licking on a Mr. Softy ice cream cone, and how well that made me feel. So when we allow the shadow self to begin to create avatars and create timelines, we're soothing ourselves. We think we're protecting ourselves and keeping ourselves safe. But those are the very things that prevent you from showing up. And again, type in the timeline for me, show up. It's time to show up in your life. Grand Rising Prophetess said, thanks for joining us live, right? Show up. That's what we're talking about today. It's time to show up in your real life. We don't want to settle, not in 2024. No more settling for just being on a job because it's paying the bills and you're miserable. No more staying in a relationship that's toxic and abusive and non-fulfilling because you don't want to be with yourself. No more not taking the next action step because you are afraid. I want to say this again, and I want you to hear me. So we started out talking this year, about timelines and creating timelines and being able to give some direction to how you want to live, the reality that you want to create for your life. It is time for you to activate your God self, step into your creator God role that we have been given. That's why we have a dominion mandate, right? Step into that role and start participating in your real life. Somebody talk back to me, because I feel this all the way in my soul. I feel this even in my inner self. Somebody is crying out, and I do want you to cry it out. This is not the life. This is not the life I know I'm here to live, right? It's not the life I'm here to live. It's a shadow of the life I'm here to live. And again, we're not demonizing. We're not cursing anything. We're not doing any of that. Because I don't even speak about generation curses in the sense of a curse, more of a generational cycle. A generational cycle and patterns that we pick up. But you have been chosen to break it because you have a cross-generational anointing and you are the custodian of your bloodline. We talked about that, right? So how do you start showing up in your life? We do what we talked about last week. You have to commit. You have to commit to doing the sacred work. No one's coming to rescue you. You have to make the decision and stand by the decision. This is my time. This is my season. Beloved, conditions will never be perfect for you to start. Stop waiting for everything to be in order, everything to be in place. You know, you got enough money saved. Start before you're ready. We have these sayings in the success community, right? Start before you're ready. Because if you wait to be ready, conditions will never be right. And I would hear potential clients and students that know this is their time to move forward and fulfill their destiny, but the ego mind will get them stuck on things that we call unreasonable reasons or excuses. It's not the right time. I don't have the time. I got to pay off some bills first. I got to check to see if my family is okay with me going to the next level. These are all unreasonable reasons because conditions will never be right. And we teach them how to have a both and mentality. Somebody write that down. Both and. I learned that from my mentor. Where it's never any time you know it's your time. And it is your season to move forward and fulfill destiny. You want to do both and ask yourself, how can I afford this? Because if you think that, well, I want to pay off these bills and I want to get out of debt, you don't know what's coming around the corner that may take that money that you had lumped up to pay off your bills, and now that money's gone. You start before you're ready. Somebody talk back to me. Say, start before you're ready. And then this is the next thing that we get stuck in, and we teach our clients and students. First, make the decision, and then make the decision right. First, make the decision, then make the decision right. Because the ego mind is always going to tell you to back out. You made a mistake. Don't do it. This is not the time. When you start hearing all of that, that's an indication to let you know it is the right time. This is for you to do it and do it now. Because the ego mind only comes up and start talking all that yang, the creepy crap, when it knows you getting ready to go to a place where it can no longer control you. Then that's when all of that kick in. I remember when I went back to my primary mentor, the one I've been with for over 10 years. And I remember I went back in and I enrolled at a price point that was way beyond where I was, right? But what I did was I locked in for 2 years. Because I know a year goes by so quickly because you're dealing with yourself. I've had enough experience dealing with my shadow self, my habits, my patterns, my proclivities to know time goes by so quickly. And transformation sometimes takes change depending on how much resistance you run into. So I locked in immediately for 2 years. Plus I wanted to lock that price in, right? That investment. I locked in for 2 years, and I kid you not, beloved, for the first 6 months, The ego mind tried to wear me down with, you made a mistake, you made a mistake, you made a mistake, you made a mistake. But I had enough sense to know that that was not coming from the voice of the heart or the spirit, because my spirit is what led me there in the first place. My spirit, my heart is what told me it's time to go to the next level. And really and truly, that whole first year of that huge investment that I was making, more than my mortgage payment, truth, more than my car note payment, truth, right? It took me a year just to settle down, just to settle and get in that seat really good. But I had enough sense to stay connected, don't back out, don't turn around. And now, after the 2 years, what did I do? I locked them for another 2 years, right? And in July, it'll be time for me to lock in again for another 2 years. What am I saying? That's the commitment to the sacred work. When you get serious about showing up and participating in your life, you will do whatever is necessary. So this is how you start honoring yourself. I am worth me making that type of investment in my life. If I can pay that much for a mortgage payment, if I can pay that much for a car payment, if I can pay that much for an outfit, if I could, whatever it is, beloved, I'm going to honor me, and I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to invest in my own personal and spiritual development, because I want to be a better version of myself. I want to fulfill my spiritual assignment. I want the mandate on my life to be completed. I want to leave and transition from here being able to say, I fought a good fight. I stayed the course, and I didn't let the shadow self, the ego mind, the flesh mind, carnal mind, whatever language works for you, talk me out of my destiny fulfillment. And so in our Christian and even Islamic backgrounds, we say that when we transition and cross over, we want to hear well done. Well done. What does well done mean? Is that I allowed my God self to emerge. I allowed my God self to come forward, right? I allowed my God self to do what it needs to do. So I want you to honor yourself and then trust yourself. You see, when I was hearing all that, you made a mistake, you made a mistake, you made a mistake, I was trusting my heart, trusting the Spirit of God within me. Then no, I did not make a mistake. You don't want me to go to this next dimension of ascension. So when you make these kind of right moves and right investments, the language will be different. The format may be different. What you're being asked to do may be different. That's what you want. You don't want to be stuck in the same old comfort zone. Learn to trust yourself. Everybody wants transformation, but no one wants to change. You have to trust that divine guidance. Why are you asking for God to show you, to help you, to direct you, but then you don't trust what you're hearing? I work with my students and clients because this is where we land. Understanding that you and God are one, and that you are an individualized expression of God in this 3D realm, and learn to trust divine guidance. You make the decision, then you make the decision right. Take that next step. Of course it's scary. Of course you're nervous, but take the step anyway. And then learn to celebrate yourself every single day. In our community, I learned this years ago as well. We have what we call the 5 yays that we celebrate at the end of a day. I put cool music on. One of my favorite, like I tell y'all, is Kool and the Gang. I will put Kool and the Gang on and start dancing to celebrate good times and start being thankful and grateful for every good thing that happened that day. Truly grateful. Celebrate yourself. And then lastly, start setting loving boundaries. Somebody type loving boundaries. It's not about cutting nobody off, dissing nobody, ignoring anybody. Setting loving boundaries that's beneficial to you. So I did something this week. I opened up 5 spots for you to have a clarity call with me. Come on, but you have to be one of the 5, and it's only a couple of spots left to respond by Tuesday, February 6th, this Tuesday. So for those of you that are watching me live, you have to inbox me and say, I'm ready for breakthrough. I'm ready for breakthrough. And then we'll get you on the calendar. I cannot hold your spot until you actually get on the calendar. But we want to have a clarity call where you can come to this call and expect a loving, secure, safe environment. We're going to help you get clarity around what has been stopping and blocking you from going forward. We're going to help you resolve some fears and insecurity. And we're going to help you prepare yourself to take the next step that makes sense for you. All right. It's scrolling on the screen on the bottom. Go to elonasanders.com/schedule and schedule the event. Now, you don't have to schedule the event for February 6th. You just have to be on the calendar by February 6th. So you can schedule it for February 8th, February 10th. That'll be okay. You just have to be on the calendar by Tuesday, February 6th, because then I'm shutting this down. These 5 spots will go fast. And like I said, there's only a couple left. If you've always been wanting to work one-on-one with me, this is your opportunity to come on, set yourself up for the year. All right, lovelies. And for your assignment, I want you to take a look at what your real life is supposed to look like, sound like, feel like, smell like, taste like. Yes, taste like. If you saying I'm supposed to be eating at 5-star restaurants, right? What is your real life supposed to look like? Because you want to start participating in your real life. Again, tell your neighbors, show up, show up, show up. All right, lovelies, I'm going to release you with many blessings for the rest of your day, the rest of your week. And this week, take that time, start looking at what is your real life supposed to look at. No SSL tomorrow. It's the first week of the month. So all of you that work with me, you know the first week of the month, you are setting clear intentions for the month. You're meditating, you're getting clear, and we're going to move on, and I'll see you on February 12th in SSL at 12 noon. All right, lovelies, have a blessed, wonderful, and amazing rest of your day. Love you. Bye-bye. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, let's go. We're going to get the thing right today. Yes, we are. We're going to do it right. And we can do it like that. Okay. Okay. Take a photo. Okay. Okay. Now, okay. And let's just go ahead and get this up.